Hello there, my name is Jason Jensai. Welcome to my first episode of Star Wars Battles. This video is Yoda versus Stormtroopers. Star Wars Battles is a series where I analyze a Star Wars character's tactics, mentality, and power and explain how many troops from an army I think it would take to kill them. The battlefield for this duel will be Crate. While you watch, tell me in the comments, how many Stormtroopers do you think it would take to kill Yoda? Are there any Star Wars battles that you think would be really cool? And should I do Darth Maul versus Ewoks? Yoda is a very powerful Jedi. He was able to fight Sidious, survive the Great Jedi Purge, and even die of old age. Even when he died, Yoda was able to use the Force to maintain his consciousness after death, and become a Force ghost. However, everyone has limits, even Yoda. How many Stormtroopers would it take to kill Yoda? Let's find out. Master Yoda is over 800 years old, yet through his powerful ally, the Force, he moves blindingly fast. Yoda's style is surprising considering his age. Yoda will leap at his enemies and finish them off as quickly as possible, while dodging and deflecting blaster fire to make his enemies kill each other. Yoda's lightsaber form is obviously Form 4. Form 4 is aggressive, fast, and relentless. It uses acrobatics, unarmed combat, along with the more traditional lightsaber techniques. But Yoda uses an extreme version of Ataru. Most Ataru users, such as Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Eth Koth, only use acrobatics a few times per battle. Yoda seems to never be touching the ground. Yoda uses his acrobatics to make up for his lack of reach. Yoda is only 2 feet tall, so without jumping, Yoda could probably barely reach a human chest with the tip of his lightsaber. With his acrobatics, Yoda can attack his opponent from almost any angle, which gives him even more options. The extreme acrobatics in his style give Yoda a massive advantage when fighting enemies with blasters, because he covers ground much faster than the ordinary Jedi. Most of Yoda's defense comes from his speed, size, and agility, but if an opponent pins him down, Yoda can briefly assume a defensive Form 3 style to defend himself. Although offense is his specialty, Yoda's defense is very impressive. Yoda was able to deflect the blaster fire of 10 destroyer droids at once. In Episode 1 of the Clone Wars, Yoda defeats 3 tanks, at least 12 battle droids, and at least 9 super battle droids. Yoda is the best lightsaber duelist. He is strong, skilled, and nearly impossible to keep up with. Yoda's Force powers are the opposite of his lightsaber skills. Yoda's use of the Force is powerful, but slow. The fastest we see him use his powers is when he Force pushes Darth Sidious at the start of their duel. Although Yoda can unleash a Force push almost instantly, that is not a remarkable amount of speed for a Force push. Yoda is not mediocre in his strength, though. Yoda can lift several tons of rocks while Count Dooku is pushing them down. An X-Wing probably weighs about 6 tons. Although lifting an X-Wing is impressive, after his duel with Dooku, Yoda lifts a giant pillar that weighed at least more than 10 tons. In addition to telekinesis, Yoda has mastered 2 Dominus or Force absorption. In the first episode of the Clone Wars, Yoda was able to easily destroy almost a dozen super battle droids using only the Force. Although it is not applicable to combat, Yoda's greatest feat is his ability to maintain his consciousness after death by becoming a Force ghost. During his training, we see Yoda show his unbreakable will. Yoda is selfless, calm, and brave. His willpower is unstoppable. When Yoda is challenged, he knows he can overcome it, and that is why he doesn't fail. He does not try to succeed, he simply succeeds. But Master Yoda does have his limits. The question is, what are those limits? Stormtroopers are often portrayed as incompetent soldiers who can't aim. In their first on-screen battle aboard the Tantive 4, the Stormtroopers, well, actually they do pretty well. Despite the rebels lining up ready to shoot when the Stormtroopers go through the doorway, when the battle is over, the rebels lost many more soldiers than the Empire did. Later in Episode 4, aboard the Death Star, the Stormtroopers are unable to capture any of the rebels. But while they are escaping, Leia comments about how it was too easy and they are probably being tracked. In Episode 5, the Empire easily overruns the rebel base on Hoth, although that seemed to be mostly caused by the AT-ATs rather than the Stormtroopers. In Episode 6, the Stormtroopers lose to Ewoks. But the Ewoks outnumbered the Stormtroopers. They were experts at navigating the forest, and they were able to blend into their surroundings. Unfortunately, the credibility of the Stormtroopers gets brought down in TV shows like Rebels and The Mandalorian. Although they are definitely not the elite army that Obi-Wan describes to Luke in Episode 4, the Stormtroopers are more skilled than many people give them credit for. When it comes to strategy, the Stormtroopers rely on their skill and their numbers. Stormtroopers will simply charge towards their enemy to overwhelm them. While this strategy often leaves Stormtroopers with no cover, it is an effective and efficient strategy when you have a significant number or skill advantage over your opponents, which Stormtroopers almost always had. Yoda is a powerful Jedi, but given enough Stormtroopers, he'll be defeated. Tell me in the comments, how many Stormtroopers will Yoda be able to defeat? Do you think it would be above 80 or below 80? Alright, so Yoda is in the Rebel base on Crate. How many Stormtroopers would it take to kill him? Let's try 80. Obviously, their strategy is going to be to enter the base and overwhelm the Jedi with blaster fire. Unfortunately for them, overwhelming Yoda is like trying to run over a car. It takes a lot of pedestrians to run over a car. As the Stormtroopers rush through the large gate and enter the huge room, they would be alert and ready for an ambush. Yoda would use the Force to move an object around nearby. Stormtroopers would send a squad over to check it out. The commander would hope that Yoda would either be discovered or attacked, revealing his specific location. But Yoda would use the Force to throw the Stormtroopers all the way into the ceiling. The Stormtroopers would begin a sweep of the general area. The Stormtroopers divide into squads. They leave a few squads back to cover the exit, while the rest search the area near Yoda in a rough line. Yoda would be discovered, but Yoda is extremely fast. Before any troopers could react, Yoda could take out 4 more of them with his lightsaber. Immediately, the Stormtroopers would fire from all sides, but Yoda dashes behind speeders and controller stations while deflecting blaster fire back at the Stormtroopers. Yoda has 6 squads on his right, 6 on his left, 4 ahead of him near the entrance, and 2 circling around the other way. After taking out another 4 Stormtroopers, Yoda leaps behind a speeder and passes the squads on the right, now behind him. Yoda has 2 groups of 8 nearby, a group of 16 by the entrance on the far right, 2 groups of 12 on the far middle, and a group of 8 on the far left. Yoda has 64 Stormtroopers left to defeat. The speeder Yoda is hiding behind is blocking all the blaster fire, so the Stormtroopers stop shooting and begin sweeping towards him again, but this time in bigger squads. Yoda suddenly attacks. The first group of 8 is knocked out by a powerful Force push, while Yoda uses the second group for cover against the other Stormtroopers. Yoda deflects the group's blaster fire back at them, while the other groups run toward him. The group by the entrance moves to get a better angle on Yoda's right, but stay nearby the entrance. The other 32 Stormtroopers begin firing at Yoda, who dashes towards them. As he runs, Yoda leaps from side to side in an unpredictable pattern and deflects the Stormtroopers' blaster fire away. Yoda arrives on the left side of the Stormtroopers, slicing a few Stormtroopers' ankles. As the nearest Stormtroopers aim low at where Yoda was, Yoda leaps up and slashes them across the face. The next few Stormtroopers are knocked backward by a Force push into another few troopers. By this time, the Stormtroopers have begun fanning out to outnumber and overwhelm Yoda. 20 Stormtroopers in a semicircle shoot at Yoda, but Yoda leaps out of the way and several of them are hit by their own blaster fire. Yoda slashes the chests of a few more Stormtroopers as the 16 who were by the entrance arrive. Yoda is surrounded by 30 Stormtroopers. The blaster fire briefly overwhelms him, and one of the bolts gets through and knocks his lightsaber out of his hand. Yoda unleashes a Force repulse that knocks all 30 troopers backward, but a few of them get up before Yoda can summon his lightsaber. While Yoda dodges the blaster fire and knocks the Stormtroopers to the ground with the Force, the rest of the Stormtroopers get to their feet. Yoda leaps at a group of 4 Stormtroopers, blocking their blaster fire with his bare hands and dodging the rest. Yoda Force pulls 2 of them, knocking their heads together before kicking the last one a few meters away, and using the last Stormtrooper for cover. Yoda Force throws 1 Stormtrooper at another 4 troopers, but he gets shot in the leg by a stray blast. The last 20 Stormtroopers shoot at Yoda. Yoda tries to dodge, but his leg is injured. He throws up his hands and blocks the blaster fire with Force Absorb, but it is too much. Yoda dies like so many Jedi of his era, overwhelmed by blaster fire from the Empire. Yoda is strong, but not that strong. Ultimately, there were simply too many of them. There was nothing Yoda could do. Although, if there were only 75 Stormtroopers at first, Yoda would probably be able to knock the remaining 15 back with the Force. Even if he couldn't, Yoda could probably have avoided the blaster shot to his leg, or held on to his lightsaber. I think it would take about 80 Imperial Stormtroopers to defeat Grand Master Yoda. So with that, thanks for listening to what I think about Yoda versus Stormtroopers. Now I want to know, what do you think of Star Wars battles? And what did you think of Yoda versus Stormtroopers? Comment any criticisms, congratulations, or questions about the video. If you enjoyed the video, or you want to see more, prove it. Hit the like button and the subscribe button. Unless you've already liked and subscribed, you probably shouldn't hit either button twice. As always, may the Force be with you.